If you saw my TikTok where I did my September wrap up, but I called it my October wrap up, listen, I never claimed to be the brightest of the bunch, okay? I'm here. Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be going through my September wrap up. So all the books that I read in the month of September. To be honest with you, I did not think I was going to end up reading this many books in the month of September. I think I read like 17. I ended up reading 20 books in the month of September, which was really wild because I think I had like 8 books read in the last week of September, like up to the last week of September. And then I did 2 readathons and I read a crap ton of books for those 2 readathons. So yeah, the lack of sleep is something that I do not recommend, however. So we're gonna go through all of the books. I feel like I had a really solid reading month. There were only a couple of books that I would say that like I really did not enjoy, but the rest of them I think were great. I had so much fun reading them. So we're gonna go through them. Let's go, so I can start the yap fest that is about to take place. Number 1, I have Fall into Temptation by Lucy Score. If you know me, you know I am a Lucy Score girly. I'm a Lucy Score stan. I love her. However, this book in particular, I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I had read the first book in this series. This is the second book in the Blue Moon series. I think there's like 8 or 9 books overall. I don't think you have to read the books in order to like understand them or like them. I just know that for me, whenever I read the Knock 'Em Out trilogy, which I know that one has more connections in between the books than maybe some of her other series will, but this one specifically, I don't know if it's just because like I talked about it in my Patreon 24 readathon that I don't know if I read it too fast or what, but it did not hit like other Lucy Score books have hit for me. I would probably rate this at like a 3.5 stars. I think given what I felt about the Knock 'Em Out series, which if you don't know, I did not like Things You Never Got Over the first time I read it, but I love the next 2 books in that series. So I think if I went to go back and reread Things We Never Got Over, I think I would love it. So I don't know if it's going to be the case for this series as well, or if I just probably for my sake needed to read the first book in order to like this one. But that's kind of what I was feeling. It follows this woman who's named Gianna, and she has 2 kids. She's a single mom, and she moves into Blue Moon, this town, and she ends up having a thing with the mayor, her father's girlfriend, and her landlord. Yeah, all in the same person. So it's like, girl, there's no reason why you should be messing with this man. However, a girl's gonna do what a girl's gonna do. I get it, okay? I understand it. Y'all, this was probably one of my favorite books of this month. I've talked about this on my TikTok. I've talked about this in my 24-hour readathon. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic by Brianne Randall. Listen to me and listen to me good. If you like Gilmore Girls, if you like Charm, I think you would very much like this book. It follows this girl named Sadie, and her family, they all have magic, like they all have powers. The problem with them having powers is that they also have a curse that goes with it, so each person has a different curse. Her curse is that if she has 4 heartbreaks, she will end up losing her magic and obviously like losing a big part of herself. And so she's trying to choose between love and her magic amidst the one that got away coming back into her life and is like, hey, remember all those good times we had? It's very much a push and a pull between what you want to do and what your heart wants. And it's a beautiful story. I loved it so much. And because cooking is such a big part of the main character's like thing, her and her grandmother, the author put in recipes at the end of every chapter, and I have them all dog-eared because I want to go in and try a lot of these recipes at some point this spooky season. I feel like it was only right? Did I use I put a spell on you Ray Dunn mug? If you talk about me having a Ray Dunn mug, don't, because I love it. Okay, these next 2 books I genuinely feel really bad talking about. I feel really bad talking about these. Every time I talked about it on my TikTok, people were really upset. But Flock and Exodus by Kate Stewart. Here's the thing, okay? I love that other people love these books, okay? And I'm not trying to take away anything from that. If you love these books, I genuinely love that for you. I just did not enjoy these books. Yeah, okay. I think I would probably rate Flock, now looking back, probably like a 2 star, and Exodus probably 3. Actually, no. I do in fact take that back. I think we're gonna rate this one a 2 star as well. Here's the thing. Somebody said that it was originally a duology. It was originally a duet. And then she added on the 3rd book, which a lot of people were saying how like you don't really need to read the 3rd book if you weren't enjoying the first 2 books. And then she added on One Last Rainy Day, which is from the perspective of a character in the first book and kind of in the second book, and it just like it became too much to me, to the point where everybody was saying how like you have to read the third and the fourth book in order to like understand it. And like that's well and good, because I'm used to reading like a fantasy series for instance, where you do kind of need to like, you have to sign yourself on to 5 to 6 books to understand really what's going on. But at the same time, the books prior to that all have their own story arc. Throne of Glass makes sense in and of itself if you just read book 1, but you get more context for book 1 in book 2, and then in book 3, and so on and so forth. You just get to know more and more about the storyline that happened in the first book. My problem with these books is that this did not really have a storyline. People were upset with me for saying that. I could not find one. This one really, to me, did not have a storyline at all. There was like one big reveal, and then that was it. And so it felt like it was just a lot of time and energy being spent for books that I didn't really like, first of all. Like, cause my issues with the plot was just only like part of it. I really didn't like the characters, and I really did not like the writing, to be so honest with you. So like there just was not enough of a reason for me to keep going and read the last 2 books. I'm completely okay with understanding that maybe things make sense in the 3rd and 4th book, but I'm okay with not knowing. I'm okay with not knowing. So these are a no for me, unfortunately. But then we also have The Very First Night by Nicole Ryan. This follows a girl who, when she wakes up, she accidentally wakes up 5 years in the past, and then she's left with this question, like, does she try to right the wrongs with the one that got away? Or is there something else? Is there something else that is there for her? And like, what choices would you make if you got sent back in time to where you could have the potential to right mistakes that you had in the past? Would you go back in time to right the mistakes that you felt were mistakes back if you could? I really very much enjoyed this. I always love Nicole Ryan's writing. I feel like her books are just so easy to get through. If you like Taylor Swift, you'll get all the Taylor Swift references in here. I'm not like a full-blooded Swiftie, so I'm sure that there are references that I missed that were in here. I feel like, yeah, if you know all the lore behind T Swift, I feel like you would very much enjoy this book. Yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I had such a fun time with it. It was great. I would rate this one 4 stars. Next, we have Shady Hollow by Junao and Black. This one was probably one of my most interesting reads of September. It follows a town of woodland creatures. You heard that right. It's a town of woodland creatures. This fox named Vera, she is a reporter, and she's trying to solve a murder mystery that happens in Shady Hollow, the town. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was fun. I had a fairly good time with it. I would probably rate this book like a 3 stars. Like, it was good. I had fun with it. It wasn't revolutionary by any means, but I had a really good time. It's perfect for like fall, cozy weather. You just want like a cozy kind of fun read. That's kind of what this is. And apparently it's a series too, so there are more books where that came from if you like that book. Then I also read The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This was one of my most surprising reads of September, because if you remember, I DNF'd A Novel Love Story, very much so. Okay, I did not like that book. It just like, it really felt boring to me, and I really didn't care about the characters. I didn't know if I was going to end up loving all of her books. I really wanted to love all of her books, but I wasn't sure. This book, it redeemed Ashley Poston for me. I'd rate this like a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun reading it. I look back on it very fondly. I do want to go back and reread it, because I know that there are things that I did not annotate that I would want to annotate. And so this will definitely be one that I go back and reread, but I had a really fun time with it. It follows this woman who gets this apartment from her aunt after her aunt passes, and she goes to stay in the apartment. Whenever she goes into the apartment, she realizes that she's 7 years in the past, and there's this like random man in her apartment, and she's trying to figure out, who is this man? Why are we 7 years apart? It was really good pacing wise, because sometimes with like time slippy books, like it can get very repetitive and just not fun, and so it's very like hit or miss if I do like time slip books. Like, it just has to be done right, and in my opinion this was done right. I will read The Dead Romantics, because people were saying how like this one and The Dead Romantics were like up there for them, so that'll be one. I probably should put that on my October TBR, but we'll see. Then I also read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and this one I did not actually have any plans on reading anytime soon. I picked it up randomly because I wanted something that was going to be cozy. This definitely delivered that. Now, people were saying how this book made them cry. It did not make me cry. It was not like that emotional, but it was still really good. It's about this coffee shop where if you sit in a specific seat, you can go back in time or you can go forward in time. You can go to whatever time period that you want. And so it's about 4 different people who want to go and like jump time basically for whatever reason that they have. And it was really good. It was really good. I think I do want to reread it because somebody said that rereading it, like, you really start to understand what's going on. And as much as I liked it the first time, I think I would want to go back and reread it. I would probably rate this one a 4 stars. It was good. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this book changed my life, but it was still really good and I had a good time with it. For my Patreon book club, we read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore, and listen, I loved this book. Okay, I'm starting to see a lot of slander on my TikTok for this book, and I don't get it. It's literally just like a fluffy, kind of fun romance read. I don't know, like, looking at the cover, I would not necessarily expect this book to have like just a ton of depth to it, and it's gonna be like a fluffy romance read. And that's exactly what it was. It delivered. If you like Gilmore Girls, you would like this book. This book is literally giving Luke from Gilmore Girls as the MMC. It follows Jeannie, whose aunt gifts her her coffee shop, which is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. She moves into Dream Harbor in order to start to run this coffee shop or to decide what she wants to do with it. And there she meets Logan, who's a local farmer. Listen to me closely. I love this book. 5 stars. 5 stars. Look, we've talked about this before. I have different kinds of 5 stars, okay? There is the kind of 5 star that's like, you changed my life and I will forever be indebted to you because of how much of an impact this book had on me. Then there's 5 stars like these, where it was literally, I was giggling the whole time. I had so much fun. I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I also kind of got into my thriller bag this month. September 1st, the end of August, really does signify fall for me. And is that kind of crazy considering I live in Houston, Texas, and we won't feel fall probably until November? Yeah, okay. However, fall is a state of mind for us Texans, okay? For us South Texans specifically. And so I told y'all, okay, it's my personality. At this point, I'm so sorry, except I'm really not. So that means that I started a lot of my fall reading this month, and one of the books that I read was Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. This was a very, very interesting read. I genuinely had no clue what this book was about. This was one of my credits for Book of the Month. I just picked it based off of cover alone. Did it disappoint? Not really. I enjoyed this book, okay? So it follows this woman who is a cop, and she's working this like serial killer case, okay? And her child ends up going missing from the person that she is trying to like catch, who's a serial killer. So it's not only like her trying to work this case, but it's also like she genuinely has to work this case because her daughter is on the line. It is so good. It's giving like occult. There are like occult stuff that happens in here, and it's genuinely just like a very creepy, very October-y, like perfect for spooky season kind of read. If you like those like occult kind of storylines, I would absolutely pick this up. Bake, Borrow, and Steal by Ellie Alexander. I've talked about it before. I very much enjoyed this book. This was honestly like the epitome of like a mindless kind of just fall read when you want to get into the fall spirit. It is a murder mystery. There is Shakespeare kind of involved in the story as well. She owns a bakery, and her bakery ends up getting like being a vendor for this like Shakespeare event, and this really important manuscript from Shakespeare goes missing, and then people end up turning up dead. Honestly, it was just fun. It was mindless. I had a really good time with it. I would absolutely recommend it if you're wanting a cozy, just fun, vibey kind of book. And then I also read Bunny by Mona Awad. I've been trying to figure out my exact thoughts about this book since I read it. I think I finished it like a couple of days ago, and I genuinely only have one question, and that is, in fact, what? You know what I mean? Like, what happened? What's going on? I think this is going to be one of those books that I need to reread probably like 2 or 3 times. If you've ever seen the movie Heathers with Winona Ryder, you would probably like this book if you liked that movie, because it's very much like giving the same kind of energy, giving the same kind of, it's like cut from the same cloth is what I'm trying to say. And I loved that movie growing up. I watched that movie over and over and over again. Like, that was a comfort movie for so long, which is so weird to say. I was also very much disturbed by quite a bit of this book, but at the same time I feel like that's what like the job of the book was. That's what Mona was probably trying to do, and so I enjoyed it for that, to be honest with you. Like, I wasn't necessarily trying to like figure out every little thing. I loved the writing. I had a good time with it. I will be going back and rereading it just to see like a different perspective on it, I guess, if that makes sense. And yeah, but this is definitely one that, like, if you want to go on a wild ride, I would recommend. I would give this book a 4 stars, by the way. It's not quite a 5-star. Maybe on my reread, it would be a 5-star. I could see that being the case. Like, if I go back and reread it and start to, like, learn different things, I could see this being a 5-star read. I also read Carrie by Stephen King. Listen, okay? Once fall hits, that is time for Stephen King, okay? This was the one that I picked up. I got these like new covers from Target. They have like 4 or 5 out right now, I think, and I love all these new covers. I enjoyed this book. I had seen all of the movies. I loved the movies as a kid growing up, and so I think I had never read the source material for the book, and so getting a chance to actually read where those movies came from was really cool. It was good because I had already known like the story. It wasn't necessarily something that was shocking to me, but I loved it. I would give it a 5 stars. I think that's more so because I'm biased about Stephen King. I just love his writing. So if you don't know what Carrie is about, girl, where have you been? Genuinely, that's not me being facetious. Where have you been? And then I also read Deadly Occupants by Mads Rafferty. Perfect for spooky season. Mads herself actually described this book as paranormal activity slash not Gilmore Girls. That would be wild. Paranormal Activity slash Pretty Little Liars. Why could I not figure... Anyways, it follows these group of girls who go into this haunted house. They do like a fun haunted house type thing, and one of the spirits ends up following them back home. So then all this weird like haunting stuff starts happening to them, and they're trying to figure out how to get it to go away. I'd rated it 4 stars. So much fun with it. I would definitely recommend it for spooky season if you're wanting like kind of a quicker book to get through, because I did get through this book pretty quickly. Listen, the next books that I'm about to show you, am I proud that I bought and then read these books? I can't say no, okay? The Mead Mishap series by Kimberly Lemming. Listen to me, okay? I loved these books. Simply, I loved these books. The first book in this series is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. The second book is That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf. And the third one was That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human. Listen to me and listen to me good. Okay? I do try to recommend thought-provoking pieces of literature that are just good for the soul and have a good amount of depth to them. Not at the moment, okay? Listen to me when I say these were the most fun books that I read this month. Okay, I had the most fun with these books. I think if I had to pick a favorite, it would be That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human. I loved this book the most. I loved the characters the most. The MMC was hilarious. The FMC was queen energy. I did absolutely love these two. I think my least favorite though is probably The Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion on a Werewolf, simply because I'm not a werewolf girly. I'm not a huge fan of the werewolf romances. It didn't play like a super huge part in the book, but it's one of those things where like, yeah, if I had to rank these, I'd probably say this one is number 1, Saved a Demon is number 2, and then Yeeted a Love Potion is number 3. Ratings wise, 5 star, 5 star, 4.5 star. Again, look, it goes back to my different rating scales, okay? Not every 5 star is life-changing. That's just what it is, okay? These are all on Kindle Unlimited as well. So if you would like to read these on KU, they're on there. I just had the most fun reading these books. I genuinely feel like you should go into these knowing very much little to nothing. I will say it is like, it's more fantasy, obviously. There's a bunch of fantasy creatures. It's really fun. The audiobooks are amazing. They have Southern accents. Okay, then I also had My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. This one I feel really bad about. At the same time, no, I really don't, because I do think that I would recommend this book for people who love exorcism stories and who love the 80s. Those two are like the biggest, obviously, like My Best Friend's Exorcism, it's set in the 80s. Exorcism storylines, I found out through reading this book, are not my favorite, so I would probably rate this book like a 3 stars. It wasn't bad by any means. I just think that I don't necessarily love exorcism stories, which is why I didn't love it. It was not necessarily my favorite because of that. However, I do genuinely think that it was still a good book. So if you do like those things, definitely give it a read. Don't listen to me. It's just a preference thing, to be so honest with you. Last but not least for this month, I have Morbidly Yours by Ivy Fairbanks. This is one that I read. This is the book that I don't want to say put me into a reading slump. I think it just didn't necessarily help my reading slump, if that makes sense. But after finishing it this month, I did enjoy it. It was fun. It wasn't necessarily like something that I would like gush about. I think I'd probably rate it like a 3 stars. It follows this girl who is from Alabama, Georgia, Texas. Yeah, no, she's from Texas. Crazy that I could not remember that. She meets this undertaker. His name is Callum. They're neighbors. He's super soft spoken. She is very much out there. She is like an animator. He's an undertaker, that is what he does, and I do think that this book would be perfect for like fall vibes if you're just wanting something kind of like not necessarily spooky, but just something that good for reading in fall. This is definitely that. It was cute. I had fun with it. It just wasn't necessarily like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of feel indifferent about it, if that makes sense. Overall, I feel like I had a really solid reading month. I had a really good time reading. I love doing the 24-hour readathons. Nobody can ever convince me otherwise. I love doing them and I will continue to do them. I don't know why, like who's telling me not to do them? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I want to know what y'all's 5-star, like highest rated book, like what was your ultimate favorite book of September? I love you guys so much. I will see you. I think the next one is going to be my October TBR, even though it's already a little bit late. It is literally October 2nd when I'm filming this. Anyways, it's okay. It's late, but it's okay. I hope you guys are having such a good day. I love y'all so much. If you guys want to see my face on any other place on the internet, of course, all the links are in my description. If you guys want to check out the Patreon Besties book club, I have that linked as well, where we do a book club, extra content. I give y'all daily updates on like what I'm doing and stuff like that. So very much a fun time over there. I love all you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.